sitting in a building that's 125 years old today.
125 years old. It's the birthday of the Anderson County Courthouse. It's quite a special day for something to be here 125 years.
And it's been a bumpy road.
It's been a bumpy road. There are a lot of things that have taken place in this courthouse because most of the trials were held here. I remember back when there was a snack bar on the first floor, and Junior ran the snack bar. And in that day, every door to the courthouse was open. You could walk in and get a soft drink, or you could get peanuts. And he had a very distinctive voice. He was blind, but he knew everybody and everything. And so
and there was never any problems.
It was never any problems. And then someday they made the decision you had to lock everything up. But one interesting thing, you know, we used to have a turret outside. And I never have been able to figure out why they took the turret down. I don't know. I'm still looking into that. But if you go to Madison, Georgia, and you ride down the main road, then you turn in, you will see this courthouse. And you will see it with the turret on it. And I went down there to look at it, and you could walk in it, and I walked in it, and I walked up the turret on the circular stairs, and it was pretty cool. But the Anderson County Council, in this year's budget, has allocated millions of dollars to bring the courthouse back to its original glory. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a new roof on it. We're going to redo the gutters, repoint the bricks, and a lot of other things to make it last another 125 years. And so this is a big step. I mean, we have timbers, which we've already replaced upstairs, that were rotten. And these timbers are that big. So we've already done some of that for stabilization. But hopefully this time next year, she's going to look brand new again. And like I said, good for another 125 years.
And it's been 30 years since there's any major...
30 years since any major work's been done on it in its time. And because it is, and I hate the word iconic because everything is iconic these days. That's an iconic chair. That's an iconic potato chip. But the true definition of the word is iconic, and this courthouse is that. So we're real excited. Happy birthday to this building, which I feel has somewhat of a soul and somewhat of a presence. And it's something everybody in Anderson County recognizes and loves and talks about. And we just want to make sure it's here for the ages.
And like you said, iconic has been watered down a bit, but this building's picture is the most photogenic building just about anywhere around, certainly in the state of South Carolina I can think of, and it's the most photographed building as well. And when people see it, they immediately think Anderson County. Even like you said, the plans were used in a couple other places, one in North Carolina, I think, and one here. They see that, they think Anderson.
They think Anderson, South Carolina. And we have people who will come by and they'll walk in to the security desk and they say, we'd like to come in and take a look. And if I'm there, I'll take them around myself. And we love that, to share this what it is. And I mean, you know, that courtroom looks like it did 125 years ago. It hasn't changed. They don't hold court, but you know, that's where council meets. So we're real excited about giving this old, wonderful building a facelift. Are we adding something to it? No. Is it going to look just like it did? It's going to look better, but the same.
And there have been some great stories over the years. I know you follow history closely. A referendum saved this courthouse. It was almost replaced after the first 50 years or 40 years.
Absolutely. But it's still here. And not a whole lot of things are still here or have been here for 125 years.
Could we get a referendum to knock down the new courthouse and make it look better?
I had a hand in that new courthouse, and I was very young working for Anderson County, and I didn't have a lot of input.
That was not your vote, huh?
No.
Was there not an original plan, or at least an idea to build a mirror of this, a modern image of this courthouse?
There was that idea was put forth. But one of the things I'm really happy about is, you know, there used to be a lot of stores back there, and they aged out and everything like that. But when this courthouse was laid out, this was the center of town. The courthouse square was here before there was a town, okay? In most places where you go, there was a town, they put a courthouse there, the town was already there. In this case, this was a new county created from the Pendleton district, and so the courthouse where it was situated was here. Then things grew up around it. It was before the town. You rarely find that. But if you go all the way to Murray Avenue to the back, in the old days, that whole part was reserved for county government. And now all of that now still belongs, once again, to county government from street to street. And I think that's great because it's back the way it should be.
And that's just the first time that's been true in almost since the beginning, right?
Almost since the beginning, yes.
Well, am I wrong that the town was originally called Anderson Courthouse before it was?
Yes.
That was the name of the town
Yes.
because the courthouse was built here.
Yep. Anderson Courthouse Town, absolutely.
And this is the second building. The first one.
Well, you know it. When the Pendleton District was in place, they built the courthouse in Pendleton. It was only there briefly. It's a wonderful restaurant now, but that was the courthouse for the Pendleton District. But when they did the division, they laid all of this out to create a new town. They didn't call it Andersonville because they had some bad luck over at Andersonville with water problems. So, and there are a lot of interesting stories how this site was chosen. There's one about these guys were at a tavern and they couldn't decide on what to do. And one guy walked out and said, "This is where we're going to build it." And they said, "Oh, it sounds good to us. We're going to build it there." So I don't know if any of those are true, but they're good stories.
But you and I have talked about this before, but this was the old General's Road.
Main Street is the old General's Road, called that because Andrew Pickens would go from Abbeville and travel up this road. And as you know, Andrew Pickens started out in Abbeville, but then he'd move a little closer and move a little further north and a little further north and a little further north until he passed away. But that main street is the General's Road, which I think is pretty cool history.
I don't think a lot of people realize the history
No.
how old that is. It's
No,
even
they
older
don't.
than
Older than this courthouse.
But with these new repairs and upgrades in the sense of fixing everything, this courthouse will be as sound as any building around.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what council wants. They want it preserved. They have a deep affection and appreciation for it. And as you mentioned, lots of people do. When we have like events, when we do the Christmas tree lighting or other events, I mean, people say, you know, in essence, that's my building, that's my courthouse. People feel ownership in it because it is kind of in the center of the county, and it is the county seat, and so it's just something that I'm happy to be a small part of, and council recognized it needed to be done and jumped right on it.
And it's the one constant. If people want to come home, this is what they remember.
When you come home, you come down here, and that's why we light the Christmas tree for Thanksgiving, because when people come down here, they can come see the Christmas tree, and they can come look at their courthouse.
And the clock and the bell tower, I know originally they had moved those over. Those are obviously newer.
Newer, yeah, the mechanisms are newer, yes.
But the clock itself and the
All
bell.
of that tower, and if you go
Is
up.
the bell the same time?
No, it's different. But if you go up, the only way to get to the clock tower, you can go up so far, then you climb a ladder. And if you peek out around where the clock is, you can see there are little cracks. Boy, you've got a view like you wouldn't believe.
But it's not open to the public.
It's not open to the
And
public,
it's not safe.
and right now, it shouldn't be open to anybody except
Right.
the people fixing it.
Looking down the road, the only other thing that'll probably have to be done at some point is an elevator replacement, right?
That'll come. An elevator replacement costs a great deal of money, but we're not concentrating on the interior of the courthouse at this point. This is all about the structural integrity, repointing the bricks, putting a good roof that looks just like the roof we have now, replacing the gutters and everything. So if anybody thinks we're having an interior decorator come in and we're really going to change the inside, no, we're not doing that. Does that need to be done sometime? Probably, but now this is structure, preservation, and safety.
Any plans somewhere down the future to have like, an October Founders Day or something where we have a big celebration again?
I'm sure that we will do that. I'm sure that we will do that because we are working now. The museum, Beverly, and others are working on a history of Anderson County and putting together a book. We're really excited about that. It's coming together real well, and we hope everybody in Anderson County will want to purchase one.